Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today I have for you my first game from PPL Season 3, Division 1. It is a very exciting time. The third season for PPL is with us, ladies and gentlemen. It's very exciting stuff. A team builder analysis video, that'll have gone up yesterday, I imagine. A link to that, by the way, will be in the description. If you want to see a full in-depth analysis of the team I decided to bring to this very first battle, all the EV spreads, movesets, my thought process going through building the team, link down in the description below. Check that out if you want to see that. But yeah, here we are with the battle, and as you can see, my first opponent was none other than Alex, aka Onesie Banette. His links as well, they'll be down in the description. Make sure you check them out. So, really quickly to go over the team I brought, as you can see, going from left to right, I got Sylveon, Electabuzz, Crocodile, Blaziken, Latias, and Wheezing. Now, the team Alex brought, as you can see on the screen, he brought with him Kyurem, Whimsicott, Zapdos, Marowak, Regirock, and Mega Sableye. Now, if you have seen that team builder analysis video I mentioned earlier, you will know that is not the team I was expecting. Barely anything. Like half of that team I was not expecting to come. So I was instantly thrown, because like I was expecting Whimsicott. I was certain Whimsicott was coming. Zapdos too, and the Sableye. Kyurem, I thought there was no chance of him bringing. I thought I had far too much for it. So now I don't have priority to try and hit that very hard. Marowak and Regirock, I didn't think they'd be coming. Like, he'd been threatening Marowak, but I genuinely thought he wouldn't bring it, because it's basically walled by Wheezing fairly effectively. Regirock, I thought he'd think I had far too much for. So, you know, whilst it was good to see, like, no Whimsicott, no Victini, you know, no Victini, no Sork, who else you got there that I was expecting? No Suicune. Really happy to see none of them, but suddenly you've got all these Pokemon that I was not expecting, and I have to find new ways of dealing with. Like Electabuzz, for example. I have Focus Blast in case he brought Kyurem, but now I can't Volt Switch around with impunity because he's got that very pesky Marowak. So things are going to be interesting in this game. Now, also before I forget, I know I'm using those Pokemon face logo things from Pokemon Shuffle, I think it is. I know everyone's using them, they seem to be very in vogue, but I actually came up with the sort of circular design for the team grid before I decided to use those, so that's my excuse for using them when I know everyone else is. But yeah, that is pretty much the intro to the teams. Now, my lead-off plan didn't really change here, because I see the Sableye, and I know Alex isn't too confident using Mega Sableye just yet, so I figured he'd want to get the Mega off as soon as possible. So, my plan, as ever, lead off with the Sylveon, put that early pressure on, just see exactly what we can do here, because he doesn't have any neutrality to Hyper Voice, which is very nice. Sorry, I don't mean that. I mean, he doesn't have any resistances to Hyper Voice, so I can just fire off one of them straight off the bat and see where we go from there. So, without any further ado, let's jump right into the battle and see how things played out. So, here we go. Alex is issuing his challenge. He is going to lead off with some kind of Undertale reference. That's his Mega Sableye. I'm going with Sinatra, my Sylveon. Exactly the lead I planned, exactly the lead I wanted. So I know he's threatened out. I did worry about Metal Burst, but I didn't think he'd be packing it. So he goes out into his Zapdos to try and tank this hit. And I say, I'm just going to go for Hyper Voice straight off. And I'm defensive. This does a lot. This is clearly a very offensive Zapdos. I'm suspecting Choice Scarf. He goes for the Volt Switch, just sort of get himself out of there. I take it very well, you know, this is a Sylveon, I'm tanking it. And now in comes the Marowak, which is a spooky, scary thing. I am at this point just going to go for the safe wish. You know, no reason not to. He wasn't going to be able to do too much damage to me. So I'm going to get my leftovers back right about now, and you know, I'm looking at a really nice amount of health. I am going to make the safe switch here. I don't want to take a potential Iron Head. I'm going to go into Pork and Beans, the Wheezing. He goes for knockoff. Now, he goes for it, and it does far more damage than I thought. I accidentally calced it with a burn, so I thought I can tank a knockoff. No, it does far too much, but I do get my wish back, and I know he's not going to want to stay in. But because he doesn't have that Victini, he has nothing that particularly wants to take a burn. So I'm just going to fire off a Will-O-Wisp. He doesn't have his Mega Sableye, and he's going to choose Kyurem to be burnt. So I'm assuming this is going to be some kind of specially offensive set. Well, and the Will-O-Wisp and residual on this thing is always very nice. So, I don't want to stay in, you know, I'm not specially defensive, I'm assuming this thing is a special attacker. So I'm going to go straight on back into my Sylveon to try and tank any one hit. He's going to go for the Ice Beam, and as you can see, the damage is going to come in. It's not all that much, I can take that very comfortably indeed. He's not looking to be a spec set at the very least, so that's nice. He's going to take a little bit more burn damage. I'm just going to sit here with Sylveon. It's what this Sylveon is meant to do this game. He's going to switch out into Molly. That is his Regirock hitting the field for the first time, as I just go for the Hyper Voice. And, you know, this does a nice amount of damage. This is clearly not an Assault Vest at the very least. So I'm going to get some leftovers back here, and I'm just going to go for a Wish. You know, I don't see this thing as too much of a threat. Even if it has Iron Head, I'm pretty sure I can take it. Regirock is not the most powerful. He goes for a Stone Edge, and this does far too much damage. It is a crit, and takes it down into the red, but it is fine, you know, I have a Wish incoming, I can just protect on this turn and get myself back up to a good amount of health. That's exactly what I do, but once he makes the very nice play, he sees that coming a mile away, he's just going to go for Stealth Rock and get them up. Now, this is bad, I don't have any form of removal on my side, and he's looking to be a Scarf Zapdos, so I don't think he's going to have Defog either, so it's looking like those rocks are going to be there to stay for the rest of the game. But I'm right back up to a nice amount of health. I'm happy to fire off Hyper Voices at this point. It's looking like a 3-hit KO onto this Regirock. He's going to go for the Stone Age once again. This time he's not going to get the crit, and you know, Sylveon is just kind of being an annoyance to him. You know, it's just sitting here. He doesn't really seem to have all that much for it. At this point, he is going to make the switch into his Marowak, I guess predicting me to Wish. I had nothing better to do at this point, and that's exactly what I do. So a nice prediction on his part, he does get his Marowak in for free. And here we're going to see a very interesting play. I'm just going to try and scout him here. I'm going to go for the Protect, just to see what he's going to do, and he makes a very interesting play. He goes for the Smackdown, clearly predicting my Weezing to come in, get rid of its ability to take ground type moves. Very nice planning on his part. Here he's going to go for the Boomerang. This does far too much damage. I am not comfortable with the amount of damage that I just took. I'm going to go for Hyper Voice. Because I'm defensive, I don't take him out, but it does mean, of course, I could take that Boomerang at the very least. But I don't want to be staying in right now. What I can do is go for the Protect, because I might as well get as much leftovers back as possible. I'm switching out as soon as I can. But I might as well get some leftovers back, you know, get myself to a bit more health. Here he has revealed the Double Edge, but even so, I am just going to go into Weezing. I don't really see too much of a reason not to. I am at full health. So I go into Weezing, I take a little bit of Rocks damage, and this Marowak is going to go for the Double Edge. And I kind of forget I don't have my Rocky Helmet. Double Edge comes in, and it's not a 2-hit KO from that range, or it's dubious whether it would be. He's going to switch out. He doesn't want me to burn him, but as it is, I am just going to go for the Sludge Bomb to try and take it out. He switches into this Sableye and takes the hit very well. But at this point, I kind of need to scout what this Sableye is going to do, and I'm sitting at quite a low amount of health at this point. So, at this point, Weezing is going to reveal the Pain Split. I'm not going to get too much health back, because, you know, Sableye does not have very high base HP. He goes for Psychic, which I was not expecting. It kind of threw me for a loop here. He gets the special defense drop. That's really doesn't mean anything. But I see this as a point where I just need to get damage on the Sableye. You know, I'm not going to be able to Pain Split on too much else on his team. Weezing's slow as dirt. So I am just going to go for the Pain Split, get as much damage off on this thing as possible, and let him take me out with the Psychic. So, down goes Weezing, but I have left Mega Sableye at a low amount of health. Now here, I do make a bit of a misplay. I probably should have just gone into Sylveon here, because I'm at half health. I need Sylveon to take a hit from the Whimsicott. So I should have gone into Sylveon and got a Wish up, but I go into Crook looking to try and get the KO with Earthquake. I've worked out this is Spadef Sableye, so I know I would KO with Earthquake. But he's going to send in his Regirock as fodder to my Crook. So Crook gets the first KO of Parasect Germain's 3rd season in the PPL. Not bad. I get my leftovers back. I'm going to get back up to full health as down has gone the Regirock. However, there is a threat still around, and here it is. Azrael is the Whimsicott. This is the thing I was most worried about. He is going to go for Moonblast here. But he shows that he's very much not fully invested, because I live that fairly handily. I'm going to go for the knockoff, just in case he's got some nasty item. It turns out he's got a Kebia Berry, I guess in case of the poison attacks that I could be packing. But I don't have a switch into this, you know. He's got me to the position where Sylveon is not a switch in at the moment, because it doesn't have enough health. So I do have to let Crook go down to this thing. But now I have an opportunity, and I'm going to go into Blaziken. So in comes Blaziken, I take a little bit of rock damage. I know he's not fully invested, I can take any hit from this guy. He's going to go for the Moonblast, it's going to do good damage. It'll get a special attack drop that doesn't matter. As I go for the agility. Now, setting up on a Whimsicott, dangerous, but I did not think he would have Encore. I was expecting fully offensive. And he shows no Encore, I go for Flare Blitz, and now we're looking good. Now, it turns out that this was a misgened Whimsicott, and I'll come on to that at the end of the battle. But for now, we are looking really good, and because it's got such low base HP, I don't take too much recall damage. Now Blaziken's looking grand. In comes the Zapdos. Now, as I suspected, this was Scarfed, but I am EV'd to outspeed Scarfed Zapdos by 1 point with an agility up. It's exactly what happens. I go for Stone Edge, down goes Zapdos, and now things are looking scary for Alex. In comes the Mega Sableye. At this point, he's really thinking he has nothing left. I have to go for Flare Blitz and risk the recall damage, but at that range, especially defensive Mega Sableye is going to drop to my Adamant Flare Blitz. I have 15 HP left, so we're looking good. In comes the Kyurem. I haven't revealed my fourth move to Alex. It's possible that my best move to hit him might be Stone Edge, but as you can see, I do pack the high jump kick. That is 99% accurate with the wide lens. That is going to crush the Kyurem. Down it goes, and now all Alex has left is this Marowak, sitting at very low HP. Now here, I do take the risk of the 1% miss. I go for high jump kick, not wanting to risk the recall damage, potentially taking me out, and risking a bit differential, and that, ladies and gents, will be the game. So, there it is, guys. That's going to be the game. A 4-0 victory for Parasect Germain in our first game of Season 3 of the PPL. Fantastic to get ourselves off to such a good start. Now, I did say that I'd be explaining a situation. The whole setting up with Blaziken on Whimsicott. Now, as you know, I was expecting fully offensive Whimsicott. It's difficult to set up on that mon because, of course, it has Prankster Encore, and it can Encore you into stuff, and that's just bad news bears. I was not expecting Encore in the slightest. As it is, I don't think he was packing Encore. What he was packing, and the move he went for on the turn I took him out, was Tailwind. Now, why didn't he go first? Reason is, and it does make me feel bad, because Alex's team building was very good for this game, but his Whimsicott did not have Prankster, and it was meant to. His Whimsicott had Infiltrator, which means he couldn't get the Tailwind off, which in turn means his Zapdos was outsped, because it was a Scarfed Zapdos, and in Tailwind he would obviously have outsped me. But he couldn't get Tailwind up because he didn't have Prankster. Which does make me feel bad. I know that Alex was not feeling happy about the result of that game because of that misgen. And I do feel bad because I know last season I had a lot of wins, including the one against Alex, that did rely a little bit on luck on my part. And yeah, it makes me feel bad that the game was changed because of that, and it was. You know, it would have been dubious as if I'd been able to take the win if he'd managed to get that Tailwind off. But at the end of the day, part of what we do is taking advantage of mistakes. And yeah, that was a mistake on Alex's part. He didn't copy, I think when he built his team in Showdown, he didn't copy, he didn't change the ability, and when he copied it to the genning, it stayed as Infiltrator. And that's very unfortunate, of course it is, and Alex has terrible bad luck with these kind of things. But as I say, part of what we have to do is take advantage of our opponent's mistakes. And, you know, managed to do that, get the 5KO sweep with Blaziken, which, on a personal note, is very good. I've wanted Blaziken to do a lot of work this season, and it started on a very good note, with 5 KOs, which is looking absolutely grand. So, Parasect Germain do take our first win from our first game, which is a huge weight off my mind. However, it's only the first game, a lot can happen. So, where do we go from here? Well, next week we play against another old friend. Our next game is going to be against Slyro and the Pittsburgh Pyro, who we played last season, and once again we got very lucky against him. One Stone Edge miss turned a 5-0 loss into a 1-0 victory for us. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. He's got a very threatening team with some of the premier threats in the format. He's got like Mega Altaria and Weavile as his first 2 picks. It's mental the amount of power he's got. As well as some old friends that he knows how to use very well. Arcanine's in there, Lantern's in there. He likes to use those mons. So it's going to be a tough game, but that's the story for next week. So do stick around on the channel if you want to see that game, as well as all the rest of the PPL content. And of course, to keep up to date with all things PPL, links in the description to the PPL Twitter and YouTube for all your news, stuff about transfers, managers, everything you need to know will be in those links. So yeah, they're there for your delectation. As of course, as I've already said, links to Alex Onesie Banette, Twitter and YouTube. Check him out. He is just honestly such a lovely guy, very good friend of mine, and he deserves all of the attention on his channel. So make sure you check out that. But yeah, we have our first win, and that is fantastic. So it's onward and upward from here. We have taken our first steps to defending our title, and we are going to try and do it again. So keep supporting Parasect Germain, guys. We are going for the top. Thank you all very much for watching, my final time saying that. And yeah, I guess with that, I'll see you next time. Laters.